Court is now in session. We are here today to render judgment on the events of UFC Vegas 110, a night that was supposed to be a showcase of skill and will, but instead put the very honor of the sport on trial. The evidence presented is troubling, the verdicts inescapable. Let us first examine the primary charge, a gross betrayal of trust, the case of Isaac Dulgarian. The evidence is damning. Exhibit A fighter enters the cage as a negative 240 favorite. In the hours before the contest, a tidal wave of money pours in against him. The betting line collapses, and no report of anything like an injury to justify this sudden shift. This is the unmistakable signature of suspicion. Exhibit B, the performance itself. A listless, questionable submission loss in the very round the suspicious money predicted. The verdict from the authorities was swift, and it serves as an admission of guilt. Dulgarian was cut, his purse seized, but the most serious charge is levied against the promotion itself. Reports allege the UFC was warned of this suspicious activity beforehand and allowed the fight to proceed. If true, this is not merely negligence. It is an indictment of the entire system. This is a stain on the honor of the octagon. However, amidst the disgrace, there were moments that demanded a different judgment. We now call the case of Waldo Cortes-Acosta. The evidence is clear, a fight-ending foul, a poke that left him, in his own words, with 20% vision. Most fighters would have taken the rightful no contest. The fight would have been declared null. But Cortes-Acosta's testimony was his action. He chose to continue, unlike the recent controversy in the Aspinall vs. Gane fight at UFC 321. He subjected himself to trial by combat, despite the disadvantage. The judgment was rendered moments later. The verdict, an irrefutable display of warrior spirit. He then held the champion, Tom Aspinall, in contempt, drawing a direct line between his own resolve and what he judged as Aspinall's lack thereof. A bold, perhaps arrogant, but powerful closing statement. We must pass judgment on the main event, Steve Garcia versus David Onama. There is no deliberation required here. The evidence was presented with brutal efficiency. Garcia's performance was flawless, his victory absolute. This was not a win. It was a sentencing. His call-out of the BMF champion Max Holloway was not a plea. It was a formal appeal to a higher court, one he has now earned the right to stand in. The verdict is in. Steve Garcia is a legitimate threat to the throne. So what is the final judgment on UFC Vegas 110? It was a night of extremes, of undeniable heart and unforgivable dishonor. While the warrior spirit of men like Cortes-Acosta and the ambition of Steve Garcia are to be commended, they cannot erase the shadow cast by the Dulgarian scandal. Therefore, this court finds the event itself irrevocably tainted. The integrity of the sport has been damaged, but it can be repaired if the proper actions now. The final question now falls to you, the jury. Based on the evidence presented, is a lifetime ban the only acceptable sentence for a fighter found guilty of influencing a fight's outcome? Court is adjourned.